Hey, hello everyone. We're live here at the Nadi, and you can see some of us have some interesting apparel on. It's Detroit OG, which is my brother's new apparel, and the website is DetroitOG.com. That's DetroitOG.com. You can check out all the new apparel that they have lined up there, and interesting topic coming up today. Before we start, I want to tell everybody, please share this live feed. You can check us out here on Facebook, and we're also live on YouTube right now at my channel. So go to YouTube and just type in Omar Binnu, and it'll come up, and it'll be a live feed there as well. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Helen said good 3 times, so she's in good spirits. Sounded like a boater, actually. Mark, what's going on?
Nothing really, man. No news is good news, as I like to say.
That's the first time I've ever been called a boulder.
First time for everything, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You know, Steve, what's going on with you?
Very good.
But I do have a good boater accent.
I have never heard it.
Yeah, you have.
I have?
Yeah. Remember the one time when I was making, mimicking that woman who said, "Oh, oi, Habibi, God bless."
Oh yeah, in front of Plum Market.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting topic coming up. We have a guest that'll call in from Vegas. Actually, he was formerly a Detroit police officer for 13 years. His name is Gus Stefan. So we'll look forward to that. We're going to talk about domestic violence today in the community. You know, it's funny. I was actually reading earlier, and here in the United States, they were saying that 20 people per minute approximately are subject to domestic violence by an intimate partner. That's a pretty high number.
20%?
20 people per minute.
Oh, 20, I thought it was 20%.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's pretty high, though.
Yeah, 20 per minute.
You know? And of course, here in our community, you know, it's happened. It's been happening. I mean, even ever since the old country.
So that's
No,
where
it
that
doesn't.
saying comes from, huh? You only hurt the ones you love?
Jeez.
That doesn't happen in our community. You're lying.
Oh, well. That's what we're led to believe, right?
Yes, that's never happened. Nobody's ever laid a hand on anybody in our community or done anything like that.
That's true. Just like they never use drugs or anything else, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's a taboo topic, of course. Sometimes we should start calling these episodes Taboo Tuesday here on the Nadi, right?
Yeah.
You know, but it's definitely a taboo topic. You know, people who are victims of it feel embarrassed. They feel ashamed. You know, or in certain circumstances, they don't want to open up about it because they have kids, and they're afraid that if they open up about it, it'll destroy the family and the kids will get hurt, etc., etc. But as with anything else, I think keeping it bottled up is way more detrimental and way more destructive in the long run.
Yeah.
I agree with
Agreed.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anything bottled up usually is more destructive for you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, whether you avoid talking about it, you know, or just pretend it doesn't exist, you know, it's going to just build up, and at the end of the day, something bad's going to happen, you know?
You know, you got to worry about those ones that want to make villages in their basements and have their wives make.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
You mean dungeons?
Okay.
Dungeon, sorry. Yeah, what?
You gonna start?
What are you talking about?
I mean,
Who said anything?
in case being, it's true.
Did I mention any names? Did I point any
There's a lot
fingers?
of guilt in this room.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
A lot of guilt.
So, Omar, so what's the point? So what are we getting at? Is it we trying to find a solution? We trying to just say that's the Mob Demery Nasha syndrome? Is it?
It's all the above. It's you know, we're gonna talk to Gus, you know, in a few minutes, and obviously he's seen a lot of cases of domestic violence. You know, the solution, of course, you know, we're gonna look at solutions, and of course, one solution is don't hide from it, don't run away from it.
First, let's before we get into the solutions, why don't you define and explain to people what domestic violence actually is?
Yeah, mental abuse,
Yeah,
physical abuse.
right.
What are we looking at mostly?
Yeah.
I mean, it can be both. It's definitely both, and both happen, here in the community. Definitely physical abuse where the man, becomes abusive with the woman and even with the children. But I've heard more recently cases, and I'm sure this is not recent, but I've just heard about it recently, cases of women abusing the man, physically.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard some of those too. I mean, people will even make jokes that, oh yeah, she hits her husband, and I'm like,
Throw a frozen takrata in his face or something.
Beat him with a spoon, those big cooking
but
spoons.
because you always think when you think of domestic violence, you always think of
male, but it's
right.
not.
But apparently, there are some women who are a little bit aggressive as well.
A little bit.
Well, that's funny leading into that question or saying that about women being aggressive. So when you hear a lot of these cases going on, and even up and recently, I think there was it's somebody from the board or a mayor, somebody in politics in a local city here in Michigan. He was let go because of domestic violence call on him.
Was that Warren?
I think it was. I think it could have been Warren.
Steve, do you know anything about that?
Well, here's the thing.
Wasn't there a case recently here in Michigan with a political figure was removed from office in one of the cities because of domestic violence?
Was it Democrat?
Oh, Lord. Well, listen, back to the subject.
Because that would be good.
So listen, back to the subject.
That's the devil.
Anyway.
We'll get to politics
By the way,
later, Steve.
this is Donald Trump Jr. I dubbed him as that earlier today, and he proudly accepted the title. So from now on,
What are you talking about?
This is DTJ.
All right. So back to the point that I was trying to make right now. So, his response was he was trying to stop her from her being aggressive towards him. Okay, and there has been many cases, and I'm a guy, and I've gone through that before, where we've riled them up so bad that they get pissy and they do come swinging and they do come swatting at you. Okay, because listen, I'm all bullshit aside. Listen, anger is anger. We're human beings. Doesn't matter, guy, girl, whatever, kid, older, man, woman. The whole point is, you do restrain them at times. You're not trying to get abusive and physical, but at the same time, you're holding them by a wrist, by an arm. You're pinning them to stop the scratching, the clawing, the swatting, the hair pulling, the poking of the eyes. Listen, it comes. I don't care.
Junior, I'm just curious, what kind of girls you've been dating?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man,
I'll tell you
you're leading a dangerous life here. Who's he dating lately?
It's
Mark,
not.
Gouge my eyes out.
Mark,
I
listen.
love her though. I love her.
You've been.
Listen.
I mean, Mark, you've been married for how long?
23 years.
And I'm sure that you and your wife have gotten into some ugly fights.
Honestly,
Are you kidding? Mark beat her over the head with a guitar one time. I seen it.
With a rolling pin.
I seen it with my own
I
eyes.
get mad, I just kind of quiet down and walk
No,
away.
but
Go
I
in
mean-
the basement, grab my guitar.
No, arguments sometimes get really heated. People get really, really upset. And you're like, you want to strangle this person, but you know that.
I mean, you ever seen a woman on strong PMS? Are you serious?
Hey, now.
I know, listen, but also even guys, moody back and forth. But I'm just saying, like, the cases have been there. So when Omar is saying something like the women have done this or this is what's going on and you're agreeing with it,
They're mad 'cause it's,
but I'm saying hasn't always been kind of going on in its own way. Sometimes guys don't want to hit back. Guys will let them swat and do whatever. They're a little bit bigger and they know it's not hurting or what have you. But it sometimes gets a little further than being playful or just more of that, like, but at the end of the day, it does happen. And then how do you counter that? How do you say, like, I wasn't abusing her? Because at the end of the day, that does work against the man a lot of times too, just by the wrist being bruised. Listen, I don't care what you tell me. Yeah, there has been situations that not where just I've been involved in something like that as in my younger days, but I've seen it happen in my older days to some friends that have gone through that.
I watched a guy that I know. This was a very, very long time ago, and we were at Metro Music Cafe. And now I'm really aging myself. And his girlfriend. Yeah, it's actually Ronan now. But anyway, she'd found out that he was sleeping with one of her friends. The girl did. And she just went nuts on him. I mean, she just started hitting him, and he was just covering himself.
It's emotional charge, right?
But here's the thing: the bouncers grabbed him and pulled him out, and we're just and he was like, can you give me a ride home? I'm like, sure, no problem.
But that's what I'm saying to you. She was
I'm
emotionally
like,
charged, right? Because
as
the
long
situation.
as she knows that we're friends, and I'm
she's
just giving
human,
her a
just
ride.
like every guy. But to say, does that happen often, or is that always the
It's
case?
mostly the guy, and that
Yeah.
more than
Yeah, most of the time,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
definitely
So-
male. Male cause. It's for sure. There's no question about that. I mean, that was the way of discipline back home. Mm-hmm. And they brought it here. When they came here. I mean, I know some of us were victims of it when we were younger, to an extent.
Well, somebody said I was talking to the chief of police in my town a few days ago, and we were just talking about some stuff that happened in our community, like with the overdose last year and how many. And he said the best statement, right? He said, "We've been here." He said, "Your community has been here long enough to inherit the filth of this country." So
Yeah, but we had a lot of stuff back home. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
say,
we did.
no,
I mean,
but
that's-
it enhanced it. It enhanced it, is what it is.
I don't think it
with
is.
freedom came liberty.
I don't think so, man. I actually think they were more protected in the old country to do things because, first of all, if you were going to hit your wife, where's she going to go? To the neighbor who's your other
Yeah.
cousin, and
Yeah.
where's that?
And he does the same thing.
Yeah, and he's beating up his old lady, and where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Where are you going to run to? You got no education. You got nowhere to go. You can't take care of yourself. You're in a little village where everybody knows when somebody sneezes. So then what? I mean, I think it was worse there where here, I hate to say
You have
this,
an out. You have an
you
out.
can get child support. You can maybe move back with your
yeah.
family.
Oh, yeah.
and
And,
call the
and, yeah,
cops.
you can call the police.
call the police. You have protection. You can do whatever. I mean, I think it's actually it was worse for them back there than it is here.
But do you think that still, okay, even now, like in recent times, that maybe women are ashamed? Like the whole, Mark, your favorite line,
Mob Demirna shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The newbies are. Then the ones that have just arrived to this country, yeah, they're still.
I don't think they were ashamed of getting beat up. I think they were scared that if they reveal it, the old man might beat them up worse.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about. Or
Yeah.
or the community will go, oh, she's lying, or
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
because
Did we
something-
need that?
Yeah, crazy,
Yeah,
so-
or she did something, or
Yeah.
she, well, what did she do for her husband to do
Yeah,
that?
she
to
provoked
her?
him.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
somehow, because there's I don't think there's anything a woman could do to provoke a man to beat her. Again, we're talking about trying to defend yourself against a woman who's out of control is one thing, but to physically beat somebody, there's absolutely no excuse for it, none whatsoever.
Just chill out and walk away and go do what you do, and that's it till you calm down. There's no need to swing or anybody or hit anybody or whatever.
No, definitely. That's always
even
the
if
case.
she was cheating on you, what's the good of?
What are you gonna do? I mean,
what's the
you
good
can't-
of beating her? What is
that's
it
the
going to
thing.
change?
There's usually situations that come with it. First of all, you guys are like that's a different case. You guys are saying if a circumstance comes up,
I know you're saying if you're attacked. By the way, PMS has men right in the word, so you have to
Yeah.
worry premenstrual.
Yeah, I know,
They
premenstrual.
cause that, so.
but
It's all your fault.
we know.
Everything is your fault.
Of course, makes it easier. Right?
Hello.
But to saying that in regards to it being a reaction to something, for that abuse to happen, to get off to that's kind of veering off a little bit. Let's forget to say if something happens in reaction. That's any situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about. Forget all that. What about just a little emotional twist? What about, let's say, a little stress, or let's say about some alcohol in the system, or other things? Let's talk that situation that occurs and happens to be a lot of cause. Or let's talk about somebody who was abused growing up and only knew that way, get beat by the belt, get whipped, or they saw their father doing it to their mother and continued it going on to the next.
Yeah, because
thing.
usually if they see that happen, one of two things happen: either you're so repulsed by it that
Right.
you never do it and you
Yep.
become a much better person, or you fall into the same
Same
trap
trap.
of imitation. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the thing. So that's I guess like talking about where it begins and the out a woman has today versus what some of them had back then. I didn't really grow up to anybody getting abused physically. Mentally I did, and
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think that there's way more mental and emotional abuse
sure there is.
amongst
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
couples
probably more
than-
mental abuse than it is physical abuse.
Yeah.
In our community, you're saying, or overall in general?
Before I would disagree. You talking like 20, 30 years ago, and prior to that, I disagree. I think it was more physical.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But nowadays, I
Now I would say
yeah,
it's more mental, but
yeah.
there is still some physical that goes on for sure.
Stephanie is saying that substance abuse and mental health issues are almost directly related.
Yeah,
Which I could agree,
yeah,
because you're edgy. You have
yeah, yeah. If you're
Bad
yeah, if you're on a-
patience,
yeah,
you're
if
not-
You're on a. If you're, you know, people. You know how sometimes they'll say people are angry drunks.
Almost.
Yeah, you mean like
Like,
it's an
that
asshole
should
just
be
had alcohol?
not-
Yeah.
no. She's saying it's like
No.
right there.
Almost, you almost won. Does that mean you won?
Almost directly related.
So that's not directly.
That's like a definite maybe. I'm sorry, man.
No, but
Is that
there is. You
oxymoron?
know how people will say, "Oh, sometimes people get drunk and belligerent."
Yeah,
And they
of
almost
course.
killed someone?
And by the way, guys,
No.
Stephanie couldn't be with us tonight, but she's with us in spirit.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
mean,
joining us, Steph.
Alcohol is a huge factor most
Yeah.
of the time. People,
Sure.
people completely change when. that's
When
that's-
Forget the whole significant other. Look what they do at the bars.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
idiots.
Guy on
man.
guy is going crazy, brawling. I mean, that's just
I got
alcohol
a song
brings.
about that. It's an asshole just had alcohol because.
Oh, is that the one we recorded in my
yeah,
studio?
Yeah, recorded at Omar said. I mean, that's what it's about. It's these people drink.
Yeah,
Let's face it. Anytime you alter yourself with any kind of drug, period, you change as a person.
Yeah,
You're different.
absolutely.
Look at those. Look at the commercials on
Okay,
TV.
she corrected almost always related. Okay.
No, okay.
thank
Look
you,
at,
So
Steph.
she's saying it is related.
She's saying alcohol is a depressant, which is right.
Look at the antidepressant commercials on TV. That at the end of the commercial, one of the disclaimers is may cause suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
slight
Yeah,
paradox there.
yeah,
You know.
it's mind altering. Alcohol is mind altering. So, and we've all heard the phrase belligerent drunk.
Yeah.
People get drunk and they're angry and they're touchy. I mean, you know, you're at the bar and if you accidentally bump somebody,
Yeah.
people are like ready to like. It's like, hey, whoa,
you get
sorry.
drunk and say, want to fight. Everything is. That's all it becomes. Is everyone wants to fight.
Some of us are happy drunks, but that's
But most likely it's the opposite, because
never
just like
seen
Stephanie's saying, it's a depressant, which it is, and it makes people sink.
There's not one positive thing that comes out of alcohol.
Except sales.
Yeah, it's about it.
That's the
too.
only thing. That's the
Yeah,
only thing. You
profit.
profitability and sales tax. That's all you get out of it.
Okay, we actually have Gus Stefan on the phone with us. Gus, thanks for calling in.
Omar, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Everyone, good. How is everyone? Good evening.
Good.
Good,
What's
good.
up,
Can
man?
How are
every-
you? How are you?
Can you guys? Can everybody
Gus.
hear Gus?
Good.
Can everybody? Can the
How are you?
everyone watching hear Gus?
So Gus was a police officer for the city of Detroit for 13 years, and he retired recently, and he's doing other things now with his family. So of course Gus, has, I'm sure, observed and witnessed many cases of domestic violence, right, Gus?
Exactly. A lot of cases. I would say being a police officer was like not number one, but number two. You'd see that most after traffic stops, after like robberies, after domestic violence was one of the most crimes you see all the time.
How I bet you guys were very nervous because of the uncertainty when you walk into a domestic violence case, because you don't know how one of the people involved is going to react. Like recently, didn't a police officer just get shot because they came to the
100%. 100%. You never know what you're walking into with domestic violence. It's no officer likes to go in to a domestic violence call, because first of all, you go in there, try to help whoever's being abused. Then when you finally take action, try to lock the person up, you find out that other person gets mad. Why are you locking him up or her up? You called us. Why are we here? The person's attacking you. Then all of a sudden we got to deal with her, and you don't know if any weapons are in the house or any type deal like that, or if anyone else is in the house. Once they find out that person's going to jail, that's it. They freak out. They go crazy.
So you eventually become the bad guy.
Yes, you become the bad guy.
It's like when I used to watch the show Cops, and they'd go on a domestic violence case, and they'd come in there like you said, and they'd arrest one of them, and then the other, and they'd have
start
like
crying.
like the wife beat her on and beating him up. They got a black eye.
I'm gonna come get you, baby. I'm gonna get
Yeah, but when you're
give me 1 hour, baby. I'm be there.
When you arrest them, it's like the spouse goes crazy, and they're the one who just got beat up.
Exactly.
That's what I never
100%.
understood.
And
How that happens. So, did you see that often, where you had to go back repeatedly to the same home or apartment or whatever it was? Did you have to see this often with the same
oh
people?
yeah, 100%. Like especially because first of all, statistically, actually, 1 out of 3 people. This is women who report the crime of domestic violence. They never show up for court afterwards,
That's terrible.
or they just drop the whole case completely. And it's crazy because we do tend to go back to that same house
Residence,
that
yeah.
causes issues.
Why do you think? Why do you think that is? Why do you think these women don't show up?
And why do you think they dropped the case? Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, most of the time, depending if the husband, for example, if it is husband and wife issue, because after I say this, I'm going to say like there's actually many types of domestic violence now. I want to touch on what you guys were talking about earlier. It's more than husband and wife now. Before, a long time ago, it used to be just husband and wife. Now the world's changing. You got the kids involved. You got husband and husband. You got everything now. It's not just husband and wife no more. That's the thing. And people tend to forget, So going back to the question, like, why do you think that is? Well, basically, whoever's the breadwinner, they don't want to lose the breadwinner.
Yeah.
They don't want that person to go to jail. A lot of, there's a lot of factors, especially if that person is, yes, the breadwinner of the house.
Yeah, it sounds like that's for sure too. The reason in our community that they would stop from reporting it to the cops or calling the cops when it does happen is for that. For
Yeah.
that reason.
Well, most of the times also they just say a simple word. Oh, I love you. I'll never do it again. Simple
Which means they only
phrase,
get beat
and
up
bam,
worse next
that's it.
time. That's usually just means it happens worse the next time when they say, "Oh, I love you," and they shower them with gifts and this
Yes.
and that, and the next time it happens, it's a worse of a beating than the time before.
Oh yeah, and that's what drives me like crazy about most of the people who get abused. It's like they tend to forget. Oh, maybe he won't do it again. I don't know. I'll give him one more chance. And you find out they come to give him more than one chance. Like they'll give him 5 chances. Like people will never learn. Yeah, it's all I can say is if you're in an abusive relationship, it's time to get out.
Yeah,
Now, as far as our community, I would say the reason they're scared, right, because they don't want no one else talking about them. No one wants a bad reputation. I know our community. That's how it is. It's all about the reputation. I get that. But at the same time, you're going to be in an abusive relationship. It's time to leave. I would say at least talk to a priest. Good thing is we have a lot of Chaldeans now who are becoming psychologists. Go see psychologists. See whoever you have to get out of that relationship. If it's that bad.
I think that's the one thing that no relationship can overcome is physical abuse. I don't care. People can overcome a lot of things, but that's one that I just think once that starts, your relationship has to end because I don't think there's any coming back from that.
But what if the abuser? How often does the abuser actually try to, they themselves get help? Because really, if they don't get fixed, if you will, that behavior will continue to happen.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing. Let's touch on this real quick. First of all, domestic violence is not pretty at all. Like when you get involved with it. Sorry. There's a lot of you guys know what happens with DUIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as DUIs, all the fines, all the stuff you got to go through just to get your license back, blah, blah. Domestic violence, oh my God. Yeah, talk about losing your job, you will. It's all on your record. No one will want to hire you after that. And just it's a mess. You have to pay restitution and fines. You have to go to anger management. There's a lot of factors with domestic violence.
I know this much. It
It ruins your life, basically. That's why I try to tell people, if you're in an abusive relationship, get out. That person's going to mess himself up anyways.
Isn't that, but it sounds like that's easier said than done. Like you gave the example, Gus, you were saying how, women in these relationships, they're dependent on these men because, let's say they have kids or they don't have a job and this man is supporting them and, they just feel like they don't have an out. I mean, so when you get calls, when you would get calls like that, did you offer them support? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of support groups. Were these women offered to go to support groups, help groups, places where they can, maybe get some help to get out of a situation like that?
Oh, 100%. When we keep forms with us, like when we get calls and the situation's over, we usually keep forms and pamphlets. We give them to the victims. This is who you need to call. Domestic violence liaisons or advocates or just basically counselors too, to help you out with whatever you're going through.
I think one of the big problems too is that just women are scared, not even because of the financial situation, because the guy goes crazy and they start to get threatened and everything. Already the guy's got a problem with violence because he's beating up a woman. And then she says, oh, by the way, I'm leaving you. Then the violence escalates even more. They get threats and everything else. So that sometimes in fear, they stay in the relationship.
Right. Mostly because of stalking as well. When people, when a couple split up because of domestic violence, you have some guys that completely, after the situation's over, after they went to jail, they'll still try to come and stalk the wife, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable. Wow, you think, hey, move on to the next. I don't want to use a term. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but some guys don't think like that. There's a lot of issues as far as stalking we have with domestic violence as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably. Would you say that's the majority of cases?
I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because obviously this kind of stuff comes from it's a behavioral issue, obviously, and I'm sure some of the things that at the roots are deep insecurity, which causes that person to feel superior enough to get physical, and then also that would lead them to to stalk when that person threatens to walk away from them. And again, it just goes back to a deep really bad case of insecurity, and that's putting it mildly.
Well, plus the stalking is so bad now because of social media. You can't escape. It's like before they might wait for somebody after work or something, but now you're on social media, so they're watching every single thing somebody else is doing if they're if they got it in for them.
So what about restraining orders and things like that? Do you have those helped in situations where women do leave and then they'll get a restraining order against the guy because the man continues to threaten them? Do restraining orders really help?
I'll be honest with you, 50-50.
Okay.
Because like I said, a stalker is going to go no matter what, restraining order or not. So it would help somewhat, but again, it's 50-50. I mean, and here's the thing also, this is a funny thing. I've actually seen women where they would go to parties after getting a restraining order, go to parties knowing that other person is going to be there. And it's funny, and try to, then call the police, call us and say, hey, this guy's violating his PPO, come get him. Okay, but he was at the party. Did you know he was going to be at the party? Yeah, and he went anyways. We see stuff like that all the time. It's hilarious. I mean, not to make light of the subject.
Yeah, no, it's actually. I think it's actually pretty sad because obviously both of these people have some serious psychological issues because, if you are trying to get away from someone who has abused you and you've gone to the extent of getting a restraining order, what would drive you to go somewhere where that person's going to be? There's something not right about
it's
that.
almost like looking for attention from that person.
Exactly. That's where we go back to saying, yeah, they want to go back because they received all the attention from them and they want more. They're craving it. Now, also, domestic violence, yes, it is emotional too. It's not just physical.
Yeah.
Like right now, if I make fun of my wife all the time, call her this, that, she can actually call and report me for domestic violence. It doesn't just have to be physical. It's emotional as well.
Are you listening, ladies? So anytime your man says something you don't like, you can call the police, okay?
Omar berates all of us on the show. Can I report that?
It has to be constant, though. Like, if your man puts you down, and it doesn't, men, if your women put you down too as well, that's emotional abuse.
Except when we're PMSing, that doesn't count.
So I have a question for you. So, I've also read and understood that most cases, when it gets to that abuse or what have you, or if you usually, like, when somebody wants to leave the other and it's a tormented situation and there's a lot of abuse or they just don't want to let them go, they come back and they kill them, strangle them to death or whatever it may be, just for the sake of, like, for the fact that nobody else will ever be with them, even though they were abusive towards them and what have you. They end up actually killing if they end up, the other person wants to be with somebody or date out, start moving on or what have you. I've read that when that usually happens, it's just a jealous, envious feeling that they can't control, so it goes beyond the abuse to actually killing the person, choking them or whatever it may be to death, so that way nobody ever ends up being with them, and that's like satisfactory to the person. I don't know.
Right, because that's another phrasing that they. Who are you gonna find? You'll never find anyone like me, or you'll never find someone to take care of you like me. Blah blah blah.
Right. Right.
They say that all the time. All the time. I
It's a
hear
form
it
of
from women all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's all it is. It's really sad, because I just want to say, first of all, no one, I don't care who you are, no one has the right to touch anyone else.
Amen.
Yes, agreed.
God put us on this planet to love each other and to be at peace.
Amen.
I agree.
Amen to that. I was reading earlier, Gus, that about 20 people per minute in this country are victims of some form of domestic violence.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Sorry, I was reading earlier that approximately 20 people per minute in this country are victims of some form of domestic violence.
Oh, yes, that is correct. I mean, right now, as we speak, someone is getting beat. It's a sad truth, but someone right now, as we speak, is getting assaulted or getting beat either physically or emotionally. Yeah, it's happening.
How difficult is it to get a PPO? Because we have my sister-in-law on her hand saying it's difficult to get one, and somebody else reiterated that it is. How difficult is it for somebody to look? What are the
What's the process?
criteria
What's
to
the
get
process?
one? Yeah.
Well, first of all, you have to start at least a paper trail. You can't just go, to a judge say, "Hey, I want to get a PPO." It doesn't work like that. You got to start a paper trail. Like, for example, if you are involved in domestic violence, you guys finally called it quits. You want to get a PPO. I'm pretty sure, like, you did all the reports. The judge will look at that. He'll issue a PPO right away. I mean, it doesn't take that long. I've seen people, like, get them actually within, I don't want to say, it's been a while, actually, 3 years since I've been with Detroit, so it might have changed now. It would take at least a month. It might be less than that. Who knows?
Okay.
But there has to be, like you said, a paper trail. So,
A paper
for
trail,
example,
yes.
you know, if it was a one where, I don't know, so let's just say I'm with my husband and he beat me one time and I reported it. Can I get a restraining order after that? If I say I'm not dealing with this from day one, I don't
From
want this.
day one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you guys go to court, you know, you can request that. Everything, yeah. It really isn't that hard.
Okay.
And some of the police departments actually have a liaison where they can do that for you, help you fill out the paperwork and everything.
Good to know.
And then you would pick up the PPO from them. They would have the PPO delivered to them. You'd pick it up, and they tell you how to serve that person. That's it.
What precinct were you in?
4th precinct.
Fourth, okay. Our store was in the 12th.
Yeah. Right now, I'm actually a police officer in Vegas, but
Do you get
because you know,
do you get a lot of is there a lot of domestic, do you think that in Detroit you saw more domestic abuse than you do in Vegas?
actually, I'll be honest with you, it's everywhere.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
So it's no
it
different.
doesn't matter whether inner cities or suburbs, or it's everywhere.
So you're still a police officer out in Vegas now?
Yeah.
Oh, our sister lives there.
Yeah, I told him that earlier.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little wild ride. You
Yeah,
get,
no, nothing compares to Detroit.
yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, this is like a cakewalk over here. You know, I don't want to jinx myself, but
Yeah, I mean, except for that mass shooter last year, I mean, I'm sure nothing spectacular
Yeah.
happens over there, you know.
that was crazy. I mean, Vegas has its issues as well, you know, but again, yeah. No,
I'm sure
nothing
Harper
like
and
Detroit.
Chalmers, Harper and Connor is much nicer than Vegas.
Or where we all grew up, or we all were born Robinwood, Hollywood. Remember those, Helen?
Oh yeah.
Remember those, Mark?
No, I don't remember that area that well, but I know I know
Some,
Harper and those areas were rough over by City Airport, and if you exit on Grand River and hang a right and go down a couple miles, you'll be turning around quick.
You're bringing back memories.
We were on Linwood and Davison too, so that was
Right.
that was a good area too.
Is that where the seminary is? Is the
it?
big the Detroit Sacred Heart Seminary? Was that Linwood and Davison?
No, I think isn't it on? I haven't been there, but is that on Livernois? I'm not sure.
No.
I think it is, if I remember correctly, Livernois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you
You
have
know
Leeds
what?
in Illinois too.
One thing I can't stress enough, which I used to hate seeing when I made those calls, the domestic violence calls, were the children.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's the worst
The children, just to look on their faces to see their parents fight, and you know how scared they are, and you know the innocence of a child. Seriously, it gets to you, you know.
Well, then you have the police show up, which
Yeah. Then you have and that's when they
that's even scary.
You know, they're
for
confused.
kids.
They're like, "What's going on?
Right.
Yeah." I mean, again, this is for our community right now. If anyone's involved in any type of domestic violence, please think of your children.
Yep.
Think of your children. I'm telling you, I've seen stuff that's like the children, when you look into a child's eyes after that, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. It's heartbreaking. That's why, the best advice, please think about your children. This is for our community.
And after you think about them, please come forward. and
Come
do
forward,
something about
yes,
it.
come
Yeah.
forward. Now, again, because our community is all, I can't see nothing,
Hush,
I
hush.
can't, I would recommend at least go talk to a priest first.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know sometimes our community don't want to get the police involved. So that's why I say, I can't stress enough, talk to a priest. Find out what the church says about leaving an abusive, marriage, or, as far as getting divorced or stuff like that. Or any type of advice, talk to a priest.
Yeah,
Do-
I agree. I mean,
well,
they're pretty. They become pretty open about that stuff.
They're trying to get it old.
Yeah, I mean, especially the younger ones. You know, they're really good about it. They're really good about hearing cases and giving advice and telling them giving them the right thing to do. So they're pretty good about that. So I definitely encourage anyone, go talk to a priest. And like you were saying earlier, Gus, we're getting a lot of Chaldean counselors. I mean, we have one on the show who's on the panel, and she's listening in right now, Stephanie. So definitely seek one of those avenues to start, as well as again, don't be afraid to seek out the authorities and put a stop to this, because it's really, like you said, so many lives can get damaged, especially the children. When you look at them, I'm sure, like you said, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. It is. Trust. And the thing about as far as the children, when they get involved, it's not so much domestic violence as it is child abuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because can't children be removed from a home like that?
Yes, they can actually. As far as they will try to find the nearest relative, a grandparent, be an uncle, an aunt. I mean, technically, the police we cannot remove them.
Right.
Yeah, social services has to get involved.
Get involved, right. I mean, you can't just go in and take somebody's kids out of their house like that. I get that. There has to be.
Right, and Detroit actually had a child abuse unit as well, so...
Wow. So an entire unit dedicated to that issue.
Yeah. To me, yeah. Like I said, it's crazy. Working in Detroit, it was an eye-opener, yeah. Just that first day on the job.
Yeah, definitely is not working in West Bloomfield being out there, huh? You get some real
Right.
situations, not like Barney Miller anymore.
No, that was a great show. I loved that show.
That's funny. We were in Birmingham the other night, and a fight broke out on St. Patrick's Day.
At that
At
place?
Dick O'Dowd's, after you guys left. And, I mean, the Birmingham police were there within, seconds.
Well, they're right across the street.
Well, yeah, they're right across the street, but what else do they have to do in Birmingham? Nothing.
One thing about Detroit, I'm telling you, we were short-handed, and I know there used to be lots of people, they take forever, blah, blah, blah. We would actually rate the calls, from severe, Obviously, we're going to go to a person who's getting killed, before we go to a store being broken into,
Yeah, I experienced a lot of that myself when I was in Detroit. I'll never forget one 911 call. And what it was is the lady was, it was a lady that was shoplifting, no big deal, right? So, but the problem was when they caught her, she bit all my guys. And she bit them, so they had to go get tetanus shots, and she was handcuffed in the back, and she was going nuts. And I called and said, "Can you please get this lady out of here?" And she was high on something, I don't know what, she was like unbelievable strength for a woman. And she was going crazy, and I called up and said, "Please, can you get her out of here?" It was 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, no problem. About 12 o'clock, I called back.
So she broke the skin?
Yeah, broke the skin.
Wow.
So went to 12 o'clock, nobody showed up. She's still going crazy. 2 o'clock, nobody shows up. I called back a second time. Third time I called back, I said, "Please, can somebody come pick this lady up?" I said, "I just want her out of here." They said, "We're not coming." And I said, "Excuse me?" I thought that was 911. She goes, "Well, we're too busy. We're not coming." I go, "Only in Detroit." She said, "If you don't like it, leave." That was the 911 operator telling me that.
Yeah, that's completely wrong. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
How many years?
I would have been I would have let her leave at that point. Just get her out of there if she's biting people.
Well, we had her handcuffed after that, but still, I just sent the guys to the hospital for tetanus shots. So
How many years ago?
It's quite a while ago. I mean, we'd been gone from that location for 10 years, but man, I got so many stories that happened there from when we had the Pepsi challenge where you pop the caps on the bottles to spell challenge.
Yeah.
And a guy came in with his girlfriend and popped the caps off on the display, and one of my guys saw it and goes, "What are you doing?" And his girlfriend pulled out a knife and stabbed one of our employees in the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, there's nothing I haven't seen. Luckily, she didn't go. It went across and not in, so it didn't kill the guy.
Oh my God.
But yeah, there's. I was in the middle of a robbery, almost got shot. There's nothing that doesn't happen in
That's
Detroit.
Working in a party store is like being a cop.
And this is a supermarket,
I
not a
kid you
party
not.
store. I always said if it was a party store, I probably would have become a doctor because I never would have left school.
I used to ride the smart bus from house to work, and the drivers would tell me some funny stories. I mean, they were funny, they were crazy, but you'd laugh, and you don't know, they'll laugh, feel bad. But one driver is telling me, yeah, she's like, I had a couple on here one time. Out that the husband was cheating on, and the girl found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and she had a battery in her purse that was cracked open. She threw the acid in his face. I'm like, wow. Wow. And then after that, she just went on a rampage on the bus. The driver was like, I stopped the bus and got out. I said, I don't blame you.
Wow.
So it's crazy, man.
But going back to what we were talking about now, thanks to social media, now again, if you are a victim of domestic violence, there's plenty of numbers you can call if you don't want to get that person in trouble. As far as calling the police, or you just want someone to talk to. Again, I would stress, talk to a priest, our community, and find out from him.
Do we know, does our church have any like programs specifically for domestic abuse victims that we know of?
I don't believe they have anything per se, like the way like how Peter's Angels is for drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think there is a specific program for domestic violence.
But they'll help you if you call. If
Yeah.
you call,
Of course.
For sure they will. I mean,
It'd be interesting to see too. I mean, as far as when you talk to a priest and asking him, can I get a divorce for being in an abusive relationship?
I think
can
you
I get
can.
an
Doesn't
annulment?
the church?
They'll
The
probably do an
church.
annulment.
they'll do an annulment.
Yeah, the church does.
Yeah.
I was always under the understanding that if you are in an abusive relationship, that's the church
Yeah, they will.
allows divorce in that situation.
Annulment.
Yeah.
They would consider annulment. but
Annulment,
yeah,
yeah.
they would.
You're right, annulment. Yeah.
Yep, they would. So, I mean, it's just a matter of getting people to, again, open up about it and being brave enough, if you will, to move forward and take steps to get out of that, situation.
Right. And again, most of the women, and they think, if I leave him, I'm useless. I'm not, I won't be able to handle it myself or anything, handle the kids. No, that's not true. Women are strong. They can handle it. You don't need someone who's abusive, someone who, every day either he gets drunk or high or just decides to come beat you up for no apparent reason. Oh, I'm going to do it just for fun. It would seriously upset me to see that in women, the ones who like to stay in relationships like that. Okay, I understand I don't know if this is every woman, they like the bad boys. I get that,
Not all of us.
Right. But still, if you have someone beating you every day, it's time to call it quits, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between a bad boy and a beat boy.
Yeah.
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 And you got to have a quality of life. You can't go through life living like that.
You know what I think happens too? Maybe I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, obviously, but I think what happens is these victims, they become the abuser just mentally, physically, emotionally destroys these women. Like the women start to feel like they're unworthy. So in a sense, to the point where they're like, okay, if I leave, what am I worth? They already, this person's made them feel worthless. So
Exactly.
I think that's
Exactly.
probably a big part of it, why these women feel like they're stuck, because they feel like they don't really have an out. They have no self-worth.
Yeah. In my opinion, emotional abuse is 20 times worse than physical abuse. Physical abuse, you can heal up. Scars, bruises, they can heal up. But as far as your mind, No, you hold on to that.
Well, I think that if you are in a physically abusive relationship, there's going to be mental abuse with that too, because you hear from a lot of the victims, the abuser comes back and the abuser plays victim. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. This happened, and this is why. So then, this person's feeling like, okay, well, maybe he didn't mean to do that, and maybe I shouldn't have done this, and so this person, they're thinking to themselves, because they love them, or did they start to feel sorry for this person because maybe they have kids with them, and this is someone they fell in love with. So now all of a sudden they start questioning themselves, like, maybe I shouldn't have done this, or maybe I can do something different so he'll stop doing that.
100%. I mean, it all comes down to what their person says in the beginning to make that other person love them. And then, it's all about that power.
Yeah, it's just all manipulation.
Which is complete mental. I mean, you're being mentally abused in that sense. You're being manipulated. The person's playing on your emotions. And
now, we always mention husband and wife. Again, from earlier, I said there's many types also. There's boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, boyfriend and girlfriend now, that's domestic violence. Even if you live in the same household, that's domestic violence. Now before, it used to be brothers and sisters, say they would fight. That was just simple assault.
Sibling rivalry.
Now that's domestic violence. And siblings fight as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's changed over the years. They expanded it.
Well,
Steve.
Gus, we want to thank you for taking the time to call in with us, man.
Thanks,
thanks, Gus.
Yeah, thanks, Gus.
Thank you, Gus.
Anytime. I love your show. Ever since I found out about you guys a few months ago, I've been a nonstop listener. And
I have a question. Gus, I have a question. Who's your favorite on the panel?
Of course, my boy Steve.
Oh.
He didn't even say a word the whole time you were talking to us, man. He's like a mute now.
I don't have to say nothing.
It doesn't matter. Steve is a great guy. Again, he said before, we knew each other from high school. So great.
So that
family
doesn't
as
count.
well.
Yeah, it counts
Him and his
big time.
Oh, man,
brothers.
sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Omar said when he comes to Vegas, he wants to hire you for
Thank you,
personal
G.
protection when he walks through the
Oh.
casinos.
How's the family, G?
They're good.
That's
Everyone's doing good. Tony, Allen, they're all doing good.
Tony
You know,
got married.
we
Congratulations.
We kind of split up right now.
Yeah.
We're not all together, so hey, that's life.
Yeah.
Each
That's
person got to deal with their own family.
Yes. God bless you.
Yeah, and real quick, touch on that. That's why I think a lot of issues happen because we are so close knit. Everyone likes to get involved with someone else's issues.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's why we split up.
That's true. I've seen a quote and I've posted it before. It said, the good thing about living in a small town is that when you don't know what you're doing, someone else does.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, all right, Gus, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks,
brother.
Gus.
All you guys are more than welcome at my house.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
guys stop by in Vegas. Take
Thanks,
care.
brother.
Thank
Take
you.
care. You too, buddy. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
That was good.
it was good, but you didn't say a word. Why you been quiet?
Why am I been quiet? What do you
Yeah.
want, the PC version? Or
No.
You want the,
Yeah, man,
you want
Steve
the,
was like,
I know.
what was going on? I was getting worried,
You want the
man.
Boy Scout version, or you want the?
No, I want the
you want the-
Donald Trump
you want,
Jr. version.
You want the
He's
truth?
on social
I
media while
want
we're
the
talking.
I want the Donald Trump
Okay,
version.
here's the
Okay,
truth.
are you ready?
Well, we're are we talking about in general? Or are we talking about in the community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. 9 out of 10. It's not a secret. We touched up on this earlier, but 9 out of 10 men in the villages, whether it be Tilkepe, whether it be Alqosh, whatever village you're in, the men beat their wives.
So that-
Hold
so
on.
You're saying
Hold on.
No, I'm saying so. You're
9
saying
out of 10
90%.
marriages,
90%.
90% of the men beat their wives.
Okay.
They slapped them. They beat their wives.
Okay.
They also beat their children.
Okay.
The mothers beat their children.
Okay.
Okay. it's probably still going on now, but it carried over into our generations. Okay, so Mark's I would say Mark is first generation. Okay, Helen first generation. You were born here, or
No,
okay,
My dad was
you
born
were
here.
born here.
My
right?
dad's born here.
Okay,
So,
so
Mark-
special
Second
case.
generation.
That's special case. Okay, so Mark would be considered like first generation.
Second
I
generation.
understand that, but he would be considered
Okay,
the first
okay,
generation
okay,
of kids. His
okay,
dad.
okay.
Okay, fine.
First generation.
Yes.
My
Okay,
brother-
whatever.
That's
First,
fine.
second, go ahead.
Okay, so Mark could be the exception because his dad was born here. Fine, but a lot of our mothers and fathers beat us down. Okay, they use the matamitas, they use the fundaras, the
I never
kanishtas,
got hit, man.
everything and anything in the rule book.
Not only did I
okay?
not get hit, when everyone came over, my
Special
dad
case.
used to make the women
Special
get up
case.
first.
I
and
got
everything
I
else.
got
The
rock
women
right
ate
Yeah.
before the
before,
guys.
bro. I'm
Yeah.
talking about sheep.
Unheard of.
Everything and
She
anything
poured
you could think of.
Red pepper
okay?
flakes in my mouth and was just missing and hitting my
Baharat,
eyes.
Baharat.
It was hitting my eyes.
It's true.
Whatever,
It's true.
whatever
And I
you
was
could
screaming
think
at
of.
the top of my lungs
Okay.
while my grandma was pinning me down like they were
So-
like a duo.
Mama, man.
So,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
so
Like,
look.
on the grandma, mom's
I mean, we weren't choir boys. We were troublemakers. We were waqi'. We're bad kids. That's how it was.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Listen. So it's not a secret. A lot of our mothers and fathers beat us down. And that's just the way it was. And whether it was good or bad, whatever, it was just the normal thing. Okay, it was just natural. It wasn't. I'm gonna call the police on if you touch me again. No. But now, second generation, like if I had children, my children, some of that stuff is it's instilled in you, so you might have a little fit or maybe slap your kid or something like that. But I think my if I had kids, my kids would be a lot better shape. They would be more accustomed to, hey, I'll call the police on if you touch me again and things like that. So it wouldn't ever be a situation. So I think the more the community goes on and the older we get and everything like that in the States, I think it's going to stop eventually.
Well,
And it'll be isolated. So that's why I think domestic violence, when I think of domestic violence, I think of isolated situations. I think the dad's a drunk or the mom's not caring about the relationship anymore. I think
disagree.
If gambling's a problem, the guy loses money, comes home, takes it out on the wife, the kids, shit starts. I mean, that's what I
disagree.
think.
I
But as
disagree.
far as our community going through it, I think it's isolated situations.
No, it's not.
I think
It's not as isolated as your.
I don't think it's in our blood anymore. I think the generations have withered down that scope of
Again, I
treatments.
disagree
Switched
because
up
you
now.
have a lot of refugees on the east side, and
Well,
that's what they're accustomed
the
to.
refugees are going to learn real quick. You can't be putting your hands on anybody this time of day, So they're going to learn real quick. This ain't the refugees. They going to learn real quick, Omar. Because you can't be doing that over here. So if there's a refugee on refugee, like refugee going after refugee, maybe I could understand. Because, like the Chumundi, what is she going to do? Sit there and get beat down by her refugee husband? It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
but
that'll
if a refugee was
What about
trying
them
to
continuously still beating their kids? The ones that are coming here, the refugees
old
and so
school,
forth.
old school, hey, old school. We lived, we here, right?
I know, but I'm saying to you, you think
Old
some,
school.
I know,
Hey,
but I'm saying
sometimes it's warranted.
I know, but I'm saying to you, you think some of that didn't pass on?
Absolutely,
Okay,
no,
but
it's in the blood.
I've
We're
seen-
just
I've seen
hot-blooded
some of
people.
my friend, I've seen a friend. You can't grab your kid by the arm. I mean, I know the kid doesn't want to get up and what have you. He's squeezing deep into him and starts tearing into his skin for the kid to get up.
Hey,
There's no. You start twisting the arm and all that
hey,
stuff.
that's
Listen,
that was. I would have loved to have my skin twisted with some of the stuff that went on
Some of these women
back
beat
in the
these
80s.
men? You know why some of these women beat these men? Because the men are not citizens, and they know if they go and call the cops, they'll get deported.
Good point, Omar. So
Yeah.
fear, yes, I get it, and that's horrible. That's just like
So wait, the
That's
women you're
just-
saying are
yeah.
beating the men?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just that's just like good luck. That's just good luck.
What about?
What are you gonna do?
Good luck. What do you mean?
What
I mean,
about-
like good luck with your life.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's talk about mental abuse, right? If you're talking about physical abuse, it's so much easier to come around and be able to go to the cops, and you can prove that a lot easier than to say beating a woman down or a man down over, or the kids down even over and over and over repeatedly with mental abuse. Listen, can I tell you something for the record? I'm guilty of it. I've done it to a woman. I've done it. I broke her down. I've said things. Listen, there's no denying has the word bitch, whore, cunt, any of that stuff. Excuse my language. Has any of that ever
Preach,
come
brother,
out?
preach.
I'm just trying to tell you. Yeah, those words kind of come out of my mouth. Have I had some of
never
those
had
some words come back harsh at me too? Of course. Was it right? No. But you know what? I broke them down. And I saw that abuse that I broke them down. And it did happen. And what it does is it makes them weak to the point that they're not even happy to be with you anymore.
But I
all
think-
you're doing is...
I think words are a lot different than bustle.
Oh, I disagree because
No, that's
it's-
not- no,
hold on,
everything-
I'm going
Oh,
to
I'm
tell
saying,
you
I'm
right
saying,
now.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Hitting is a lot worse than words. So
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
no,
I don't know
think
because
so.
let me
No,
just
I
say one
disagree.
thing.
Hitting
I
is
was
a
in a
lot worse.
relationship
The tongue is
and a
mighty-
guy
the
started
tongue is
calling me
mighty,
a
my
bitch
friend.
and
It's
a hoe
sharp.
It
and
is,
whatever else
but-
Junior just said.
But you can come back from someone calling you something. You can't come back from someone hitting you.
no,
You
no.
can't. If I hit a woman, I'm done. Like you're done in your life.
No, I'm
You're
telling you, as
a woman. You're a woman beater.
as a
You
woman,
put your hand
I'm
on a woman
telling
one time.
But a woman's-
It's over.
Get it from a woman's perspective.
Okay,
Go
as
ahead,
a
Howard.
woman, I'm telling you, if a man ever talked to me, if I was in a relationship with a man and he ever talked to me that way, that would be the last time he ever saw
Like
me.
what? Oh, but is it in rage? Like,
But
oh,
what
you
Steve is
effing-
saying is that
if
the
you effing
physical
this,
part
this,
is
this.
worse in this case.
Well, see, I disagree with that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that's probably usually how it starts.
Freezing.
That's usually how it starts, where the guy starts calling you names and starts berating you. And then if you allow that type of behavior, it could progress into something
But
worse.
Helen, you could come back if you were married. You could come back from your husband calling you a bitch or a whore. You could come back from that. You're not gonna go and divorce him. But if he slapped you or punched you, he's done, right? He's done, right?
But what she's saying is that it's the physical part is usually preceded by the mental stuff.
I understand that. But if all he did was, let's say he came home and, the bathrooms weren't cleaned or the clothes weren't washed or something. And he's like, and he got mad, and he was mad, and he said, Helen, you effing this, you effing that, how come you never do anything? I have work tomorrow and my
That's
clothes
not
are
chauvinistic. The bathrooms weren't clean.
Whatever, because Helen stays home. She watches General Hospital all day. Whatever, who cares? Whatever the situation, it's their job to wash the
I
clothes.
can't.
And she didn't wash the clothes, and he called her a bitch or something. Okay, that's different from him saying, why don't you clean the clothes? Bah! What are you going to do?
How is that different?
It's a lot
words,
different.
Your words can beat down people so bad.
But if it happened on the regular, I'd understand that. But if it was just like, hey, why isn't the clothes washed?
At the end of
Because
the
you were
day-
supposed to wash the clothes.
At the end of the day, whether it's physical or mental abuse, it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery
Straight
slope,
down the hill.
but physical
Sure.
abuse is a lot different than mental abuse. I really believe
In
that.
either way, either form, I think it still happens today, and not as isolated as you might think.
I think
I'd have
I
to say,
think they're
I probably
isolated
think it's
situations.
Mostly, I think now it's mostly
I think the
mental than
caveman.
physical.
Yeah, I think the caveman mentality.
Yeah. I mean, again, Steve, as we've all been in relationships, and everybody fights and argues and things get heated, but you have to understand that there are some things you just don't say and some things you just don't do. It's called self-control. And if you don't have that self-control, like I said, if I'm in a relationship and I start getting called a bitch and a whore and all those other things, because who knows, we had a disagreement, or like you said, I didn't do the laundry.
I know, man.
Lord.
Or you're like they say, nog met shirtma. You know, is that
That's not
right?
the point. You know how someone gets all tight, all wired up. It's just
Yeah,
it's a
but-
character flaw. I'm not saying, but someone putting their hand on somebody is a huge character.
I guess
It's
I don't know. I'm not used to either. And
I know,
I've
but
never
do you know
been
what
in a
happens to broken
relationship.
self-esteem? A bruise is healed.
Yeah.
Broken self-esteem is
listen.
a whole
We're not on the
different-
View.
Yeah.
Okay, so pipe down.
There's no.
No,
such-
he's-
I'm not
he's
talking
right.
about no
Listen,
view. It's,
I
I
tell
did
you
this.
something.
Don't tell. Listen,
Steve,
I've done
listen.
it. Don't argue
Yeah.
with me against
Thank
that.
you.
I experienced it and I did it. And the response, it broke the hell out the girl. Don't tell me that. It hurts her. It's affected it. I'm still friends here and there, but you know what? It's never been the same. It's that warmth has never been there again, because you know what?
I could testify to that. I've been a victim of your abuse on a daily basis.
If they only knew the flatulations you leave me with sometimes. The guy passed gas from upstairs had me waking
on,
up from my sleep downstairs in the living room. So you definitely do agree.
burned part of your
He
beer
does
off?
get some abuse back, right? I get abused, but on the real,
yeah.
I've done it. I've made that mistake. I've said things.
I think we've all said things, Junior.
I understand that,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, was it right? Did it make it right?
Keep quiet.
It's just,
Do you guys agree the tongue is sharp,
it's
man?
human
You can
nature.
cut somebody's
Yes,
head off with a
yes.
tongue.
And
Tongue
I
is mightier
agree.
than the sword, right?
yeah,
I agree
yeah,
because-
He-Man.
No, I
Listen.
agree. You're absolutely right, Junior, because you can't take those words back. You can't when someone says something.
Yeah, but you can't take a slap back either,
No,
Helen.
Omar, I don't. I'm
No,
not just
words are
All
words,
I'm saying
okay?
is, again, you're talking about if in a scenario where Steve the man's angry about something, he had a bad day at work, blah blah blah, whatever, and he comes home and something's not the way he wants, and then let's say he just starts yelling at his wife, because this happens if you're in a relationship. Guess what? The first person that a spouse or a significant other or a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, takes their frustration out, it's usually the person closest to them.
You always
Sure
hurt
it
the
is.
ones you love.
Oh,
So,
Okay, so
Helen, have you ever been a victim of abuse for not cleaning the bathroom or doing laundry? I'm just.
no, but maybe Matthew has.
Oh boy.
Wow.
I guess that proves my point.
No, I
That proves my point, guys.
It was a joke.
Because
There's a
my
point to this?
my
Sorry,
point
go ahead.
my point is sometimes you can't control your tongue. Sometimes you can't control your emotions. But the minute you put your hand on somebody, you're fucked. Bottom line, done, cooked. Call it a day.
Has Donald
And if your
Trump been
wife,
accused of
hold on,
abuse?
if your wife or husband, vice versa, puts up with that shit, you're lucky.
Well, what do
Because
the,
you know
what do the
You
viewers think?
cheating
Ask
on
the
your
viewers,
wife
right?
Or having an affair with a porn star is abusive?
Okay,
I'm asking the
it's
question right
alleged.
now. Why
It's
don't we ask the
alleged.
viewers? Is there
Are
is there a
the
major
viewers
difference?
interacting today?
Yes, they are. They're giving some, but is there a major difference between physical or mental abuse? Is
Not
one
really.
worse than the other?
No, they're about the same.
Some of them on here are saying abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
Here,
Absolutely.
physical, mental, emotional
like
abuse
I
comes
said,
from
Steve,
lack of
I'm telling you
education,
from
follow-
a woman's standpoint, I'm telling you, if I was, if someone
So
I'm
if
in
you
a
called
relationship,
your husband an asshole, you're such an asshole.
No, that's not.
That's abuse.
Oh,
That is that. Okay,
oh,
that
you're
is-
such an asshole. Why don't you clean the garage?
No,
You're such a lazy fuck. Why don't you clean the garage? Like, what is wrong with you? You're
That
so
is- that-
stupid.
You know what? In a way, yes, it is. Then I guess you're right. Then
It is.
I'd be kind
What's the
of saying-
difference? That's
You're-
my
You're
point.
breaking the self-esteem
But as soon
down.
as you take your hand and put it on your man and try to slap him or come with him at with your nails and or something, bite him or whatever,
Oh,
you're done.
Spoon.
Spoon, whatever.
what about
And as soon as he puts his hand on you, he's
Yeah.
done. Okay, but if he's calling you a whore every day and if he's calling you a bitch every day,
Yeah, that's not
that's
right. Those
and-
are, yeah.
yeah, that's fucked. That's not every day is
I feel like
fucked.
There's a quote coming
Why
from
every
Iron
day?
King
What,
somewhere.
what, does that make a difference? Once a day, once a month?
Junior, I understand he should never open his mouth like that. I get that. But it's human nature to be mad, to take it out on someone.
Stephanie
Wait a minute,
said,
Stephanie
hold
said
on,
it.
Stephanie
Okay,
said-
here we
He
go.
abuses us every Tuesday.
Yep.
Every other Tuesday. I'm sorry.
Amen, Stephanie.
Although
I
even
where's
on
the
the
love button on here?
although even on the off weeks, it's traumatizing. Just thinking. About it.
Oh, God. The ramp up,
No.
knowing.
Steve, all BS aside, has Trump ever been accused of abuse?
No, man.
He hasn't?
He's been accused of everything under the sun about a year and 6 months ago.
Okay.
Okay? Because prior to that, nothing. All right? So it's all political.
So in the
it's
last
all the
year and a
liberal
In the last year
effing
and a half-
losers.
In the last year and a
okay?
half, was he accused of abuse?
No abuse.
Helen?
Doesn't abuse people, Gazile, man.
Oh,
I don't.
he doesn't?
He doesn't?
Who did he hit? They said he abused?
No,
I don't
even
know.
even
I'm
And
mentally.
sex. Which one is it?
I don't. I mean, she.
11 years ago? Which one is it?
Even mentally, has he
What's-
abused
12
anybody?
years ago? He was
Who
having
knows?
sex?
We don't know him personally.
Who
We can't
knows?
tell ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Who knows? All I know is he's doing a damn good job. Anyway, let's get off that subject. All right?
Willie, you don't want to talk about Donald Trump?
That's enough. We
Why?
had a
It's a miracle.
couple deaths in the community we'd like to talk about. One of them is Mr. Norman Kyriakos. Do you know Norman? You guys know Norman?
No.
Norman,
You know Norman.
Kyriakos.
Kyriakos, Norman?
the one that used to work at
Kyriakos
ABC.
Norman?
or
Warehouse?
Yeah,
Kyriakos?
his wife passed away, actually.
wow.
Wait.
Yeah.
From what?
Kyriakos
Was
or
it cancer?
To send our thoughts and condolences. And my cousin, Mazen Gabara, passed away.
wait, I had.
Yeah, Ivan was
cousin
telling me
Mazen
that earlier
Gabara.
today.
Yeah, that's second cousin. So
I had a first cousin.
He's,
Mazen Gabara, on my dad's side.
one of a kind,
No,
that
on
guy.
my mom's side.
Oh, Johnny.
One
says,
of a kind
he loves
guy.
the foul language today.
Very, very, very good guy.
Yeah,
to keep him in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, prayers and condolences to the families of these
Families.
Who was Andrew saying? Somebody from Sam's family? Was it the young lady from the east side, or someone had an aneurysm?
What? Wait. It was a young girl.
Young lady, right?
A young
Those
girl.
Kids.
Did she
has
pass?
kids.
No, I don't
no,
think
no.
so.
Okay,
I think
I'm
she's
sorry.
in a hospital.
Okay.
I think she's a hot. Wasn't there
Okay.
a prayer vigil?
Yep.
for
Then
her?
that's what we're
Is it-
saying. So prayers for her and her
Prayers for
family.
her. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Rafid
She's
was
got
telling me
3
about
small
that.
children.
Yeah, so
Oh,
sad.
Yep.
I think she's comatose.
Yeah, they. May
I
have
think
induced-
it's an. You know, you hear
Let's-
all sorts
right.
of things. So let's not start.
Let's just pray for her and the
Exactly.
family. That's the one thing
Exactly.
that we could do. That's guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Holly, her name
There we
is
go.
Holly
Chola.
Chola.
Yep.
On
Everyone
behalf,
keep her. Yeah.
on behalf of all of us here, we want to keep everybody that we talked about today in our prayers, and we ask all of you guys to do the same thing. Especially these 2 deaths. I heard about the one earlier, Mazen. Terrible. I mean, a victim of cancer. I think late 40s, right, Steve?
Late 40 could be early 50s, late 40s, but he was hell of a guy. I mean, I have pictures with that guy when I was
What
like
do you
5
have?
years old.
Cancer.
How old? Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from what I understood, it started in the colon and it just spread, and it's terrible.
All that shit that they spreading around these days.
Monsanto. Half the problem is Monsanto.
Yeah, that's something we gotta talk
Trump
about
Santo?
sometime.
No.
Eating and what it does, all the bad things it can cause, and all that. Definitely.
Well,
What else we got? Anything else on the
There you go,
agenda
what do you gotta
that
talk
that
about,
went
man?
this week?
Again,
listeners out there, viewers, what do you want to talk about? What do you want us to hit up on?
Yeah, we always do ask. Omar's asked a couple times what the viewers would be interested, like topics. We're always open to suggestions.
DM us. I know we don't want to have you put out on the open. Some of them want to hear topics that they don't even want others to know that
Yeah.
they'd like to hear. So DM.
Right.
Yeah,
DM,
yeah.
PM,
Message,
you know, message us,
Omar, message Omar,
me.
or message your favorite person on the
How do
panel.
you guys like
me.
Omar's original Gumla hat?
Original
Looking
Gumna.
good?
Original governor. Wow, he's clowning on your symbol, man.
Not
You gonna
clowning.
take that from
Actually,
him?
it's Premier Shopping.
I'm gonna take
Detroit
this out,
OG,
guys,
one of the premier
so
brands right
everyone
now.
can see it.
Junior, you want to touch up on your brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I give a little bit.
Wonderful material too. Wonderful material.
Steve, I got a question. So if
Oh, good job, Helen. Good job. Pick up the damn
you
microphone.
guys heard all this stuff and the broken mic and the feedback right now,
Jeez.
Can someone call the police? I'm getting abused here.
Steve, is it abuse if you hate Dolma and your wife makes Dolma 7 nights a
Man,
week?
I would divorce her so quick. If she didn't, or she made
No, if she
7
made
days a
Dolma
week.
7 days a week,
no,
and you
that's
hated
heaven.
it.
Are you
But if you
kidding?
hated it, though.
I love it. Like, who could hate Dolma?
Yeah, bro.
No, it didn't. Just the
We're taking up. We're doing a.
It's fine. It's fine.
Omar.
It's fine.
We're doing a fundraising drive for Omar's microphones.
Condolences to my microphone too.
Oh yeah. Oh, Marvin got his shirt.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah. Did he get a shirt?
Well, there's a few. These.
Marvin got a shirt.
Well, the shirts that we did, these were the St. Patty's limited that we did. We just put them out there, and then
Oh wow.
yeah, we're
That's
gonna, We're gonna
nice.
be at opening day, Tigers. Next
Wait, I got a
week.
question about St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
So why is like a Saints Day a great day for everybody to get trashed?
To get trashed. Just
What's
another.
the point of
excuse.
this? And what's St. Patrick's Day all about? What's
Is that irony?
Irish people do. They
no, but about what though? Was it something about the driving out the snakes or something like that? I don't know what.
Not sure.
I don't know. I think it had to do with liberation.
I got to hear the story. because
You
it's
can
some-
Google. Google will tell you what is
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
But there's
all
no
about.
better way to celebrate than getting so drunk you
Yeah,
puke all
it's
over.
the
and
Irish
pass out.
way, I
It's
guess.
a beautiful thing, you know, just
know how that.
good times, right?
Oh yeah. Were you busy yesterday, or St. Patrick's? Were you busy?
No, everyone's at the bar.
Everyone at the bar?
Thanks,
Yeah.
Janice. I got real fans out there, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Oh.
Good luck, JB.
That one was
He don't need luck. He is
you
the
know-
luck.
Oh, you got fans?
Yeah, well, you know, people.
My
are
fan
dig-
club broke up last night, man. The guy died. Yeah.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
You guys, it was a joke.
We know my fan club died tonight.
One
know.
fan.
The one guy, yeah.
So we'll be at next week at
Her brother-in-law has a fan.
at Brass Rail at
Yeah, right.
at the down in Detroit
What
over
is that,
by
gay bar?
Comerica,
Oh, okay.
the pizza place that used to be the old Rub.
Ah, okay. I know
Yep,
what you're
yep,
talking about.
yep.
Yeah,
The
right.
Yonos. My friend
Oh,
Dominic.
Brass Rail, right?
Brass Rail. Yep.
Is it
yep.
good? How? I mean, how?
You know, I haven't had a chance to eat over there, but I've heard from the guys it's pretty
Good
good.
stuff.
Yeah, I've heard
Deep
that
dish
too.
or regular or everything.
And, you know, it's no, I don't think it's deep dish. I did not
No?
see deep dish when I on their menu and stuff.
What
but
is it?
where we're gonna be doing we're doing the Detroit OG. We're gonna be doing like particular shirts on that day. We have the Tigers colors that we're doing for our stuff, but what we're doing is really cool. Is we're doing another limited drop just for that day. There's gonna be 50 shirts total of a particular one. It's really cool. You guys will see it that day when it drops, but we'll be out there.
So if we want to order OG
yeah.
apparel, where do we go?
You go to DetroitOG.com. It took me a while, you guys, to get it going. So, I mean, there's been a buzz back and forth. It took me almost 3.5 to 4 years. The biggest pain in the ass was going through the trademarking. It's not easy, especially when you
I
incorporate.
know all about trademarks.
I
know all
learned
about
so
getting
much.
screwed on trademarks.
Oh, geez. I mean,
I can tell you a lot of stories, which include the Evil Empire, downtown Detroit. You know,
Yep.
lots of stories,
Mark-
and the
yeah, Mark's got a
Visitors
story.
Bureau, and all kinds of stuff.
There's always opposition. Somebody says no.
No, there's no opposition. It's a matter of if they got money and they want to use it, they're going to do what they want to do and dare you to do what you're going to do. And they know the judges and everybody else because of the billions they have, and you don't. So good luck with all that stuff. But trademark it anyway, just so that you protect yourself. But at the end of the day, if these big boys decide they want to rake you over the coals, they're going to do it. So
Yeah, I mean, right now we're pretty protected on this, so pretty well. So it's pretty solid. It's just giving us a little something different to do, me and my partners, and it's just, man, I got burned out from retail life. I just wanted to do some new adventures, but we really got some sweet gear coming up: hats, hoodies, zip ups, everything's coming. We got.
do you guys keep inventory, or are you guys doing them on demand?
Right now, we're doing fulfillments, but we're doing both. Actually, we're doing both because we're being creative. We're doing like I said, a couple like this was limited drop, so this wasn't fulfillment. This was done for based upon the event, and then we had we got the Tigers coming up too as well too. So we're building it. You really don't build online the brand. It's not as easy. You got to get out in the general public. From the general public, you got to take it, and then you have to have some icons that would also wear your product and get lucky like that. And then it's a dedication. It's just going to be a fun adventure. Being at this age now, doing something different from what I was always used to.
Very good, Melhy.
Yeah. So that's it. Shop Detroit.
Wow.
If you guys want to follow us on Instagram, Shop Detroit OG is our Instagram. And just so you guys know, we are working with some nonprofit groups in the city, so we're going to be donating some of the profits.
Who are
back
some
to
of the
them.
groups?
We haven't finalized yet. We've got two that we're coming down to. One of them that we were really going to primarily focus on was a boxing gym on 7 and Mound.
Crunked?
Nope. It's Team Hands On. It's Jimmy Paul, one of my friends, Daquan. He has been my friend for about a good 10 years. We've been close, but he works with the youth a lot, so I go to his shows and stuff, and they're nonprofit. So we're working with them originally, but they've kind of held off on some things right now. So we got another lady that's
You
working
should think
with us.
about doing something with the soon-to-be St. Casey, Solanas Casey Foundation, or whatever he's got going over there. I know they have something.
I don't know. Detroit OG in a church?
Marvin's saying put your stuff on
He's
Amazon.
not-
By the
he's
way,
not Detroit OG crack rocks. I mean,
I've got a line of
It's too nice to be on Amazon, Marv. I can't do that. I wish, bud.
Hey, and if you want to check out my line of clothing, go to welcometothed.com.
no, it's
People
not.
don't
They
know
got
the
everything on
trademarks.
Amazon. What are you talking about?
What?
Okay,
Everything under the sun is on Amazon.
Yeah.
that's all right.
What do you mean it's too nice? Mato.
That's all right.
You can get $20,000 Gucci's or Louis or Lubes.
That's
and,
true.
And you're talking about you're too
I
good
also-
for
you
Amazon?
don't- Yeah, because you also,
Amazon.
You
And
don't
Mark
find
was-
you don't find Supreme on Amazon.
And
you
Mark
don't find
was
Kip on
saying-
Amazon.
Who said you don't?
You don't, unless somebody's secondhand selling it. That's a different story.
Amazon is Amazon.
I
And
understood.
Mark
but I
was
also
saying,
Oh, yeah, I was telling you about my product, Steve, before you cut me
Oh,
off.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome to the D.com.
Welcome to the D.
And you get all my apparel with, people don't know I own the trademarks on the D. Welcome to the D, Hail the Heroes, So Detroit. These are all my brands. All the apparel's up there on Welcome to the D. And I do have some stuff on Amazon, so I guess my stuff is not that good.
And there's still, and you do still have some at Heartline too, right?
Yeah, in Heartland Marketplace. Yep, come on in and grab some shirts off the rack. And listen to Welcome to D My Song, too. If you get a chance, check it out. Good stuff.
Don't you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah. Slight Return USA.
Good to know.
Awesome.
So, Omar, what's the next topic?
well, I know, I
Nobody
was
here
gonna
watching
say-
us is giving us any ideas, man.
Omar,
Talk, dude.
don't you have anything you want to plug?
Me, myself, and I.
Big O Productions.
Art of Audio is my studio.
Yep. Oh, sorry, Art of Audio. Used to be Big O. Formerly Big O.
Formerly Big O, I changed it to. It's called now. My studio is now called the Art of Audio, I was actually flattered. I posted this on Facebook a few days ago. Mark Bass, who was one of the original producers for Eminem, he and his brother recently contacted me and wants to do some work with me. So I'm pretty flattered at that. It says a lot. Flattered and thankful. So if you guys, anybody needs on-hold messages for your business, if you have a track that you want created, if you have a singer, an artist, whatever you want, I do it here, here at my studio. And I have all the best musicians around town that I work with, including this guy here with the guitar. So that's me.
I don't claim to know what I'm doing, but hey.
That's my plug. We want to thank you guys all for tuning in as usual. It's
Thanks, everyone.
Been an interesting show. A couple weeks from now, we have another couple of interesting topics actually lined up. We're going to talk about infertility in the community, and also prenuptial agreements before marriages.
There's people signing prenups?
Omar, you haven't even been married ever before.
I'm
and I have it, and your brother. So how even if we talk about that?
It's okay. We have people on the show who are married.
You want to talk about people being infertile, Gizile? I mean, aren't they going through more?
Well, we actually have a guest who threw the idea at me a couple weeks ago, and she's going to be on the show too.
I think that's going to be an interesting topic because I have some questions about. We'll discuss it.
Yeah, Marilyn made me sign a prenup, man. I'm just,
Yeah, all the
Omar's
guitars before you got married.
Omar's currently pregnant out of wedlock.
She now owns my guitars.
The immaculate conception of the burek today he ate.
Who told you about that? Ivan?
I heard.
You had put
Wow.
up today?
I heard.
Yeah, we went to Cork and Rye. They have really good food.
Yeah, I know. They don't even have Buddha at Cork.
Yeah,
and
they
Rye.
do.
What?
They have some that are made in corned beef, and they have some regular ones like the one that we make.
What is it? What is a
Corned beef
what
burek,
does
guys.
Jewish deli know about
It's not Jewish. It's Chaldean owned.
Cork and Ryan?
Yeah.
No.
Sammy Ono's kids own it.
Really?
Yeah. They have really good food. We should go there one day, Helen.
No, I've been there before. I didn't know that.
Where the old vineyards is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, that's Chaldean.
Okay.
They have good shawarma sandwiches too, beef and chicken. Gus, great
Hold
sandwiches.
on. What's your favorite though, Omar?
Honestly, the shawarma's really good.
No. What's your favorite in general? If you could have like one lunch meal, what would it be? At like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. What's your favorite?
That's tough. I don't
No,
have
it
a
can't be
favorite.
tough. Come on.
I don't.
What's
have
our favorite then?
What happened to all
Oh,
those
whoa!
loaves
I know where he's going. No, I know where he's going. It's tomatoes a pizza.
Oh,
Junior
man.
loves that too. That's Junior's favorite too.
Did you ever have the buffet, June?
No.
Oh,
Omar,
come
what
on.
happened to your love of
I
the
just got a
Sahara
salad,
dressing?
From the
Princess
buffet?
replaced it.
Yeah, but it's just a quick
Do they-
$5,
is their dressing
$5
better?
salad.
Their ranch?
No, you got to get the
Omar,
buffet.
can I
They
plug a
have
couple
the
things?
salad,
Yes,
and
of
every
course.
single pizza.
No, Mark,
From
you can
Nutella
plug whatever
pizza
you want. You
to
have
whatever.
my
You could even
permission.
custom your
As soon as
pizza.
Steve
I
stops
want this
talking and
pizza.
interrupting, I'll talk.
Well, I'm talking about pizza.
Good
Oh,
luck.
sorry.
Tomatoes a
A
pizza.
couple
Oh.
of a couple of things I started with. One, I was asked by Tom McDonough to co-host a show called The Decap, which has been very interesting. We like tomorrow we're interviewing a producer named Jim Gaines, who is like he's produced like 30 platinum albums and has like 15, 20 Grammys. He produced like Stevie Ray Vaughan, all the big Journey albums, Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle, Huey Lewis Sports. About 7 or 8 Santana albums, including Supernatural. So it's been really. We interviewed doctors.
Where does it air?
It's on the decap.com. You can
Okay.
see we'll record them and then it'll be on there. We had a doctor talking about the healthcare. We had a guy, the head of the Republican Party from California, and then he was on Fox News 2 nights before, and he was on our show a couple nights after. So it's been very interesting. And then I also joined the team at RL Recordings as a producer and consultant and they're affiliated with Universal. So
Mabruk.
thanks. It
Just
should be
wanted, just wanted to wish everyone a happy Assyrian New Year, Rosh Hashanah 6768. Happy New Year,
Oh,
everyone.
they're on a different calendar?
Yeah.
No, we're on a different. We're same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
We're
don't know where-
Chaldean.
What calendar are we
Oh.
on, man?
The Catholic.
Oh, what do you mean we're Chaldean?
Oh, you're saying
You're Assyrian.
Roman?
You're Assyrian. I'm Chaldean.
Do you not believe in Asher?
No, that's you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning
Oh,
in.
hold on.
No, we're
Maybe
done.
that could be a topic.
Asher?
Just, are we Assyrian?
Like, possibly.
Oh no, here we go with this again, man. I was on.
That died about 3 years ago.
Well, anyway,
Let's
happy
not-
Assyrian New Year, 67, 68.
Well,
Let's
here's
not
your-
resurrect
if you're-
it.
hold
Thank you
on,
for tuning in,
hold on.
everyone.
I
Have
want
a good
one
night.
quick plug.
Hold on, don't worry.
One quick plug. So Marianne will appreciate this. If you want to know about your Chaldean culture, Shenandoah has the Chaldean Cultural Club. Marianne, my cousin, Omar, and Junior's sister is on the board. And
I'll stick to
It's
the mixed
tours are
actually
grill.
available. It's beautiful.
I'll stick to the mixed grill.
No, listen, hang on a second.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful museum. I mean, it's really.
Don't you
really,
want to know your
I've
heritage?
seen every single.
And
Are you kidding me?
it gives
I'll school all four of you on the heritage. I'm
Steve,
I'm
can I
kidding
finish?
here. Relax.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Where do you want me to
it's
take you?
really
Joke,
nice.
huh?
I'll take you from Asher to
Look, does this guy ever let anyone
Abuchadnezzar.
talk?
No.
Listen, Detroit OG. Don't forget to pick him up. You need a track produce. Here's the man right here. The man with the plan.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
And they also got
Go
welcome to
visit
the
the
D
cultural
t-shirts.
Chaldean
wait a minute.
Cultural Center
Visit
at
Heartland.
Shenandoah.
Tell us about the track you just produced with Steve Acho.
It was actually a track that Steve wrote. I'm sure a lot of you who are listening know Steve Acho. It's a track that he wrote for the Chaldean Community Foundation about our, exiled brothers and sisters or refugees. It's a great track. He sang it with Catherine Dechu. It came out really nice, really great. I don't know when they're going to start promoting it. I don't know if they have or have not started yet. I don't think they have. Steve would have contacted me.
Yeah,
but
and Steve, everyone who's heard Steve has just got such a nice style of playing and
He does.
singing. Very, just very, very likable sound. Unlike Slight Return, my band, where we might make you run for the hills.
You're like
For
you're like
exits.
the rock version of the NWA.
Exactly.
Again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. Have a good night. We'll
Thanks,
see you
guys.
guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good
Peace
night.
out.
God bless.
All right.
Okay, kids. It's